Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Thank you for joining me for another of our Torah Study sessions. We actually have a Tanakh with me today, so we can actually study the Torah rather than me just talking about Talmud. I'm going to put one of the kippot on. I think I'm actually going to put this baseball one on. It's kind of rainy out today, but there we go. But the Red Sox are doing a little bit better, and there have been a lot of good sports going on lately. If you're a Bruins fan, I'm sorry that they were eliminated, but obviously that happens sometimes. But there are other sports going on. If you want to get your fill before they go away for a bit. All right, we are in Deuteronomy. We're in a portion called Ki Tavo. And like most of Deuteronomy, Moses is giving a speech to the people about what's going to happen to them or what has already happened to them. In this case, Moses is telling them what to do, what will happen to them next. So, when you enter the land that the Lord your God is giving you as a heritage, and you possess it and settle in it, you shall take some of every first fruit of the soil, which you harvest from the land that the Lord your God is giving you. Put it in a basket, and go to the place where the Lord your God will choose to establish God's name. You shall go to the priest in charge at that time and say to him, I acknowledge this day before the Lord our God that I have entered the land that the Lord swore to our fathers and mothers to assign us. The priest shall take the basket from your hand and set it down in front of the altar of the Lord your God. I'm going to skip a little bit. And then you shall leave it before the Lord your God and bow low before the Lord your God. And you shall enjoy, together with the Levite and the stranger in your midst, all the bounty that the Lord your God has bestowed upon you and your household. That one paragraph has the Lord your God 3 times. I was kind of getting tripped up on that. Anyway, so that's the section that we are going to be looking at today. I think that so the idea is that the Israelites get to the land of Israel, and they give a sacrifice of fruit, the first fruits that they are able to grow in the land, and they give that to God, or they give that to the priests, who then give that to God. And then it says that, and part of a sacrifice that isn't really taught so much anymore, so maybe you guys don't know this, but the sacrifice isn't just burned and then they leave it there. You burn it, and then you eat part of it as well. So you're sort of dining with the priest, with God. But it also says, with a stranger, that if there are people who are in the land of Israel who aren't Israelites, may not really be Jewish, they are not only allowed to come and join, but they're invited to come and join. In fact, it's the mitzvah. You're commanded to include them, obviously only if they're there. And so I really want to connect this with, if you give someone, so God is helping the Israelites by saying, this land is yours, I'm promising it to you, go for it. And what God asks in return, among other things, is to say the first fruit that you get from this gift I'm giving you, give some of it back to me. Because, God obviously played a big part in the Israelites getting the land and the Torah. And if you ever help someone, then you probably feel a little bit of like, oh, when they finally, get to their own mountaintop, get to their promised land, whatever the analogy is you want to use, it's nice to be appreciated. It would be nice once they start to find success and really fall into a groove for them to stop and say, hey, you really helped me out. I appreciate that. Thank you. Maybe here's a little bit of what I did. Not like some of their income, but, if you help them get a job at a bakery, maybe they'd be like, hey, the next time that you're in, I'll give you 1 free cookie. But only one, because that's the main thing, is that this transaction only happens one time. There are other sacrifices to God for many other reasons, but this first fruits things only happen once. And I think the idea is, if someone helps you, you should acknowledge that. You should thank them. Maybe you should pay them back in some way, but then move on. And if you do help someone, you should expect a little bit of a thank you. It's always nice to be appreciated when you help someone out, but you should only expect it a little bit. If you're helping someone so that they thank you, so that they acknowledge you, you're not really helping someone for the right reason, obviously. We want to help people because it helps them. We don't want to help them so that they say thank you to us. That's not the right motivation to help other people. So this is a really good demonstration of how to interact with someone who has helped us and how to interact with someone who has given us help. That there's sort of like in exchange for us to do, and then that's it. And then we, the helper, can go off and do other things, maybe help different people, or we, the person who received the help, can then enjoy the help without really feeling guilty or that we owe anything to anybody because we've already sort of met that commitment that we might feel about it. And then there's the bit about the stranger, that you deal with the person who helped you, you deal with the person in charge, the priest or God, but then you help strangers. You help other people, people who you don't know, other people who may live in your community. And I really like that idea that when we get help, or when we give help, that ultimately we are going to be benefiting other people who we may not even know. We may not know their name, we may not know where they're from, we may not know where they live. That's all fine. We're just supposed to help them. And that's sort of the social underpinning of the world is people making services. This went in a very different direction very suddenly. I'm not really talking about like goods and services. Just the idea that like when you are providing help to someone, you then give them support so that they can then do something else. And eventually that will help other people. They may then help other people, etc., etc. So be helpful to people. Accept help when it's given to you if you need it. And then maybe accept a small gift if you gave help. Maybe give a small acknowledgement if you got the help, and then move on. And that helpful relationship is sort of what makes the world go round, but it makes the world go round and we shouldn't get stuck on it like like some kind of merry-go-round. Man, I feel a little out of practice doing this. Anyway, whatever. I think you guys get the idea. I'm just repeating myself at this point. So, thank you all. We've got, as always, our Debbie Friedman, Misha Barak going on. If you have someone, maybe if there's someone who's helped you recently or someone who you've given help to recently and you want to think about them during these 2 minutes, that's appropriate. Or again, it's a song for healing. So if there's someone in your life who you know who needs healing, whether from the coronavirus, they've really been affected by the pandemic, or maybe they're just sick of being home. Maybe they are sick of not being able to go out to restaurants that they like. Maybe they miss their family because they can't visit them as much as they want. Really, if there's any reason why someone you know isn't feeling 100%, now's a good time to think about them as well. And with that, thank you all for joining me again for another week of Torah Study. I look forward to seeing you again next week. Hopefully by then I will have refound my own groove, not stumble the way that I did today, but whatever. Things happen. Judaism isn't a performance. Sometimes we can make mistakes while we do it, and that is still a fine way to engage in Torah. So, Shabbat Shalom. Have a great weekend, and that's it. All right. Bye.